Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Syafina and I'm a student from English Language Education 2020. In this occasion, I would like to present my thesis with the title The Use of Read, Encode, Annotate, and Ponder, READ Strategy to Improve Student Reading Comprehension. Or in Indonesia, penggunaan strategi membaca, menyandikan, menganotasi, dan merenungkan untuk meningkatkan membaca pemahaman siswa. The Honorable Multiple Professors, Prof. Dr. Kusman Salih MPD and Dr. Nur Aini SPD MPD, and my examiners, Prof. Dr. Syarifuddin Dollah MPD and Dr. Ahmad Talib MPD. In this video, they will be divided into two chapters or two sections. The first is chapter 4 and the last is chapter 5. Chapter 4, Findings. The findings in this research were collected to find whether or not the use of read, encode, annotate, and ponder READ strategy is effective to improve students' reading comprehension at SMP Negeri 9 Makassar. The data in this research was from the same students' experimental group, and they were given the pre-test, post-test in the form of a written test which consists of 20 multiple choice questions about narrative text. Next is number 1, the data description. You can take a look in the picture that is descriptive statistics, pre-test and post-test. The number of students is 28, the minimum score in pre-test is 35, and the maximum score is 18. And in the post-test, the minimum score is 45, and the maximum is 19. And we can take a look in the paired sample statistic. We can get mean scores which is circled. The pre-test mean score is 60.89 and the post-test is 76.07. This means that there was an increase in the score after getting the treatment. Let's move to the paired sample correlation. The correlation values show that the 6-2-tailored pre-test and post-test is 0.01, which is smaller from 0.05. That meaning there is a positive relationship or correlation between pre-test and post-test. Next, move to the paired sample test. The data table used a paired sample to test analysis. The paired sample test is a test used to compare the average between two paired samples, where the paired samples come from the same subject. The decision making occurs especially if the significance value to tell is smaller from 0.05. Indicate that there is a significant difference. But if the significance value to tell is bigger than 0.05, indicates that there is no significant difference. And we can see, or we can take a look in the based on the paired sample to test, we can see that the 6-2-tailored is 0.00, which means there is significant value to tails is smaller from 0.05. It can be concluded that the use of read, encode, annotate, and ponder READ strategy is effective to improve students' reading comprehension at SMP Negeri 9 Makassar. Number 2, the classification of the student scores. We can take a look. There is 4 classification of student scores. The first is excellent with the score 93 until 100. And in the good classification, the score is 84 until 92. And the classification of fair, 75 until 83. And in the very poor classification is smaller or under 75. We can take a look in the pretest. The frequent is one student got a good score or good classification. 11 students got fair classification, good fair scores, and 60 students got a very poor classification or scores. But in post-test, we can take a look. There is have an increase that in a good score or in a good classification, it is an increase from 1 to 8, 8 to 9. And in the frequency of fair students, there is decrease from 11 to 9 to 8. And in the very poor, there is decrease from 16 to 11 students. We can see that the pre-test and post-test students who got 35, 1, 56, and who got 77 students. And in post-test, there are decrease from students who got 35 students. Now the minimum score is 55. There is one student who got 55, and the maximum score is 90. Next is number 3, hypothesis testing. If the significance value total smaller from 0.05 indicates a significant difference. But if the significance value total is bigger than 0.05, indicates that there is no significant difference. Reject HO if total is smaller from 0.05. The hypothesis HO, the use of read, encode, annotate, and ponder read strategy is not effective to improve students' reading comprehension. HA, the use of read, encode, annotate, and ponder read strategy is effective to improve students' reading comprehension. Based on the data analysis, there is the significant value in this study is 0.000 is smaller than 0.005. Thus, HO is rejected and HA is accepted. Okay, next is discussion. This section contains interpretation of the findings that have been made by researchers regarding the use of read, encode, annotate, and ponder read strategy to improve students' reading comprehension. The flow in the Twitter is giving pretest, treatment, and post-test. The researchers gave a pretest using a narrative text multiple choice instrument of 20 questions. After giving the pretest, the researchers gave the treatment as many as 4 meetings, where at each meeting the researchers used the REAP strategy in teaching reading comprehension. The first treatment was given after the pretest. In a teaching process, the REAP strategy is briefly explained. In its activity, there are 4 steps, namely reading, encoding, annotating, and pondering. As a result, students spend a lot of time on the encoding and annotating section. In encoding, students have a difficulty finding keywords and the essence of the story, while in annotation, students have difficulty rewriting the story back in their own language. In this treatment also, students are given a brief explanation about narrative text. What is narrative text? The purpose of narrative text, and its language features. After the treatment process is complete, then the researchers gave a post-test to find out the result of the effectiveness of using REAP strategy to improve students' reading comprehension. These research has been supported by some previous research by other researchers. The first is Hazianti in her thesis, the use of reading, encoding, annotating, and pondering, this strategy to improve students' reading comprehension. Aulina, in her thesis entitled The Effectiveness of Read, Encode, Annotate, and Ponder Read Strategy Toward the Students' Reading Comprehension Ability on Narrative Text of the 8th grade students at MTS Sunan Ampel, Ringin Radio Kediri. And the last is Vidya in her article entitled Building Students' Reading Comprehension Through REAP, Read, Encode, Annotate, and Ponder Strategy at the 2nd grade of MA Sejahtera Pare Kediri. The result of their research is have the same results that show the effectiveness of REAP strategy. In their research, it showed that REAP strategy is effective to improve students' reading comprehension. In this video, they will be divided into two chapters or two sections. The first is chapter 4 and the last is chapter 5. Next is chapter 5. Next is conclusion. Number 1. Based on the results of the descriptive analysis, the average value of the pre-test was 60.89 and the post-test was 76.07, which means that there was an increase after receiving the treatment. Number 2. Based on the result of the test, a sig-to-taught value of 0.00 is obtained, which means sig-to-taught 0.00 is smaller from 0.05. And in taking hypothesis test, that reject HO is 6 smaller from 0.05. And in the result of research data, the sig value to taught is 0.00, which means that the significant value taught 0 smaller from 0.05. It can be concluded that the use of read, encode, annotate, and ponder REAP strategy to improve student reading comprehension is effective at SMP Negeri 9 Makassar. The last is suggestion. Firstly, for English teacher at SMP Negeri 9 Makassar, this research and other proved by REAP strategy was effective to apply in classroom. So they can use REAP as one of alternative for teaching reading comprehension. Secondly, for the future researchers who want to use this research as a reference can apply for other levels, education, and use a different instrument. In this video, they will be divided into two chapters or two sections. The first is chapter 4 and the last is chapter 5. I think that's all from me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this video, they will be divided into two chapters or two sections. The first is chapter 4 and the last is chapter 5.